Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Amayirot Akago. And I'm sure you've all heard the news that recently famed radio personality and voice actor Gary Owens, well known for playing the narrator in Space Quest 4 and 6, unfortunately passed away at the age of 80 from complications of diabetes. And obviously this news came as something of a shock to yours truly and many others, I'm sure. Not only because Gary was, of course, an exceptionally charismatic and professional person in his field, but also because he was slated to do the narration in the upcoming Two Guys from Andromeda space venture. So it's a rotten shame that he would be taken from us before he would have the chance to do just that. But rather than be saddened by what could have been, I opted to instead fondly remember his accomplishments in life. Because it was about 20 years ago that I first played Space Quest 4 when I received it for Christmas, along with a bunch of other games and multimedia CD-ROMs in a bundle that I still own to this day, as you can see right here. Still have the original CD. And it's very treasured possession of mine, obviously. Not only because it was a really good game, but also because it was my introduction to Gary as a whole. I think it might have been the very first time I heard his voice, not just in a game, but anywhere. And he immediately stood out to me even as a kid, not only because it was one of the first games I played that actually had voice acting in it, but because his voice just added so much to the overall experience. Like, from the very first second you boot up the game and there is this bombastic intro with the awesome music, beautiful graphics, and then Gary's voice chimes in, and he does it with such energy and charisma and hilarity. Like, it really elevated that game to a whole new level. Now, part of that was, of course, because of the two guys writing, but he managed to bring that dialogue to life like nothing else. And it went on through the rest of the game as well. Like, he was serious when he needed to be, he was funny when he needed to be, and when he was funny, he was really goddamn funny. And when years later I first picked up Space Quest 6, I was pleasantly surprised to hear his voice in that game as well. Because I had no real expectations when I went into that. I had no idea it was in it, so hearing his voice again was like meeting an old friend whom I hadn't seen for years. But even beyond that, of course, the guy was an awesome actor in different projects, like all these different cartoons he was in, Space Ghost, and of course Laugh-In, which was probably the thing that made him famous, which unfortunately I've never seen, but probably should check it out one of these days, if only because he's in it, and also because people tell me it's a really good show. And it's of course for the reasons of honoring his memory that I decided to make a video dedicated to his performances in Space Quest 4 and 6, the projects through which I became familiar with his works. Now, initially I wanted to do a top 10, but then I figured, why limit myself to just 10 moments when there are so many different moments I could choose from? So instead I opted to do a montage of all my favorite moments from these games. Obviously it's rather long, but I hope the following will give you just as much entertainment and hilarity as it has in the past. And we will always remember how much enjoyment we got out of Gary's indomitable enthusiasm. So, here's to you, Mr. Owens. And to put it in his own words, enough smarm already? Let's montage.
Now where am I? You wonder aloud to non-existent auditory organs. This place sure looks homey. Hey, wait! This looks just like Xenon. It is Xenon! It's really a Pio. Along with the changes induced by an armed conflict, the city looks different, more modern, with a heavy dash of post-disaster seasoning. Casually glancing at the status line, you happen to notice that you're in Space Quest 12. What's happened? Who was that guy with the overdeveloped hairdryer? Why did you let yourself be talked into jumping into some strange shimmering hole? Why are you talking to yourself? These incredibly intriguing questions will quickly be forgotten with barely an electron stirred in that well-armored orb atop your shoulders. Hey, keep your hands off yourself. This is a family game. The rubble is rough and jagged. No sense in risking injury this early in the adventure. We'll get to that in due time. We're glad you could play Space Quest 4. As usual, you've been a real pantload. Ah, the aroma of several adventure games emanates from your person. I'll bet you wish you could. You inhale deeply and detect the aroma of very old traffic. You lick a thick smear of filth off the street. Finding the taste unpleasant, you quickly swallow it. What a smart person you are. Those sure are some finely honed reactions you've got there. Perhaps you're still suffering from time lag. That was without a doubt one of the finest examples of bunny snatching I've ever seen. Serious damage to important body parts pretty much screws up any future plans you might have had for living. Bummer. Oh well, just think proudly of your accomplishment. On second thought, just think. It even happens to important people. I would think that something identifiable as unstable ordnance would be low on your list of fun and healthy things to carry. We hope you'll get yourself together and rejoin us. Isn't this a blast? This was a busy intersection of commerce when times were happier and life, well, just existed. Nobody can reach that building from here with their tongue unless they're in a Leisure Suit Larry game. You've reached the sewer maintenance office. Apparently this office has been long abandoned. Your janitorial instincts urge you to sweep up and do a little dusting, but you suppress those urges and concentrate on the task at hand. It's an empty jar with a lid, neither of which does anything entertaining. This rough area tastes strangely like blood. Oh, that is blood. You shredded your tongue. Your mother should have warned you about licking strange areas. A blob of slime has gained an attraction for you. Is the green, viscous, congealed wad of vile helper bent on your destruction? Or is it just a friendly puddle of scum looking for a new friend? Dare you find out? You took a little too long. Now it's slime time! As the green slime dissolves the flesh from your bones, you think, hey, this stuff consumes 47 times its weight in acid. It smells like cotton candy, roses, and fresh roasted peanuts. Yeah, right. Just as you fade from the Living Organism Club, you think in amazement, so that's what my spleen looks like. Watch out for that first step. That was a long first step. The powerful quad quark drives Rev to life. Time and space bend under the fibrillations of the time-rip transfluxers. Your adrenaline and stomach reel with the hyperbolic hyperbole. And finally, nothing much happens. That must not have been a valid code. Try again. Ent must be a secret code. Perhaps it means self-destruct, or maybe change return. It's some sort of monitor, probably used to monitor something or other. This is Roger. This is Roger on Ortega. Any questions? Here at the base of the buttes lies the legendary Sea of Estros. The shimmering crystal clear water is calm and inviting, giving no hint of the currents that could suck you under fast enough to pull your skin off and leave your insides standing on the shore. We could show you that, but it would be in bad taste. Your hair is the last thing on your mind right now, even though it's on top of your head. The huge nest is constructed of sticks and assorted being parts gathered from this bleak planet. It is then cemented in place by a generous helping of pterodactyl saliva. Take it from someone who knows sick. Licking corpses is going way beyond simple dementia. Get a grip, pal.
Help! A giant branch has penetrated my vital organs and I can't get up.
Seriously, do you actually think this guy has time to talk to you? He's too busy being dead. Now this is a pain that'll linger. All the Bengay in Florida won't relieve this stiffness. You suddenly remember an off-color tall joke. But as you begin to open your mouth, your will to live overcomes your juvenile impulse. In other words, you wisely keep your trap shut. The change machine looks like a time machine more than a time machine looks like a time machine. For a change. Gooey, greasy little fingers and various appendages have left a coating that smells like a cross between cotton candy and dead gerbils. You had to taste it. Well, it tastes more like dead gerbils than like cotton candy. Gazing at the wastebasket, your impulse, nay, your very instinct, nay, the very fibers of your being, scream out for you to pick up that garbage. But you're too busy. As much as we enjoy seeing you get in trouble, we must warn you that this type of behavior is universally considered either rude or amorous, which could get you either killed or married. The latest bomb from master storyteller Maury Bryanarty, Boom, is a post-Holocaust adventure set in post-Holocaust America after the Holocaust. Neutron bombs have eradicated all life, leaving only you to wander through the wreckage. No other characters, no conflict, no puzzles, no chance of dying, and no interface make this the easiest to finish game yet. Just boot it up and watch it explode. The two guys from Andromeda's latest sci-fi comedy, Space Quest 4, will give you hours of frustration unless you have this hint book. Want to know how to get the dog into the hanging basket? Want to find out how to attach the melon? Buy this hint book and it all becomes obvious. You'll hit your head and say, boy, how stupid could I have been? A moron could have figured this out. I must be a real dimwit, a pathetic nimno, a wretched, idiotic excuse for a human being not to have figured out these simple puzzles in the first place. Try it and see. Following closely on the heels of his hit tic-tac-toe construction set, Phil Fudge does it again. Using a simple point-and-click interface, you construct the checkerboard of your dreams. Fill in an 8x8 grid with squares of your choice, red or black, in any arrangement, as long as it's alternating. Don't like it? Erase it and start all over again. Requires MCGA, CGA, VGA, PGA, or Ta-ra-ra-boom-GA. Sucking on a bottle of ketchup doesn't seem to satisfy your hunger no matter what the government thinks. Warning, the following sequence contains explicit arcade action and is not recommended for die-hard adventure players, the arcade squeamish, or those with poor to non-existent motor skills. Oh, by the way, you're about to be fired. Very well. You give the moving walkway a warm kiss. Now you both feel special. As you change your clothes, you think to yourself that even in drag, you still have incredible animal magnetism. Or is that just a lack of deodorant? Hint, hitting a moving target is more difficult than hitting a stationary lump. Don't throw the bunny at the sequel policeman. He may have a hair trigger. Next time, don't dilly-dally, dude. Why did you just stand there? Well, I guess you just enjoy a laser buzz once in a while. Smoking is bad for your health. There's a whole lot of smelling going on, but the game still makes no sense. Thousands of volts pass through your cranium, turning your brain into a quivering mass of short-circuited neurons, which effectively terminates all interpretation of sensory impulses. You musculate spasms for the last time as the force field shock causes you to give up the ghost. There it is, good old dirt. Smells like dirt. Tastes like dirt. Sure, just try and stop him. Nice reflexes. Life is pounded loose from your body by the impact of the sand bike. Maybe if you wait a while, the nice droid will come around to where you are and talk to you. While you were busy staring blankly at your Pocket Pal screen, a droid snuck up behind you, tapped you on the shoulder. Zap! You're it! As you leave the laser tunnel, you hear a metallic voice announce that the formatting program is beginning, erasing all data in the supercomputer and dashing all hopes of regaining your son. The word laser came to mind after each of the first 6 shots, but only after the 7th blast were you convinced. The formatting sequence times out, the computer brain does its thing, and you suddenly realize you've lost the game because you weren't there to see it. Well, that's just great. Now Vohal's on the loose again, disguised as your son. You lose 3 out of 2. So many unanswered questions. The future should prove most interesting for Roger, if he can stay out of trouble long enough to reach it. We're glad you could help Roger get through it all. Thank you for playing Space Quest 4. As we join our hero, Roger Wilco, he has just been transported to the surface of Polysorbate 60 to enjoy a little shore leave. Apparently, there was a minor glitch in the process. Well, at least you got here with all your important parts, your hands, your mouth, and your stomach. Seldom have you had the good fortune to get to know a street so up close and personal. You feel you have a real bond growing. That's an interesting piece of hardware. Your normally dim power of recollection actually recalls having seen a picture of one of these in the ship library. Get this, it's called a bike. People used to actually get on these and use their own muscles to achieve locomotion. What losers. Excellent guess, Kreskin. Wrong, but excellent. Let's not, and say we did. You wonder if there could be any connection between this kind of waste disposal and a thriving business like implants and stuff. Wow, that's kind of deep for you. Your words are so unspectacular, nature doesn't even see fit to grant it an echo. Your words cause everything to become speechless. How dynamic of you. Don't touch that. We don't know where you've been. You poke it and prod it and generally make it feel like a piece of meat. Nothing happens. See, most games would just give you a generic response when you try something useless like that. But we've custom-tailored this response exactly for you. In this galaxy, those 2 items don't do anything together. Maybe it's different in your neck of the woods, huh? There isn't much you can do to them that inflation hasn't already. Geez, Roger, when will you learn? In the past, that kind of behavior has led you to being sliced, diced, compacted, compressed, pureed, digested, inverted, carbo-gelatinized, and other stuff just as interesting. It's a little early in the game to be getting your can creased. Well, that wasn't too bad for a borderline physical specimen like you. It didn't quite get the job done, though. Nah, you still haven't convinced the door to yield to your obviously superior physical presence. Wow, you really did it! Not exactly the subtlest of entry techniques, but effective. That's pretty macho for the likes of you. Who would have guessed you'd have the makings of a Starsky or a Hutch, or a Tango or a Cash?
Yeah, that's a great improvement. Look much better now.
Well, he did warn you. I'm not going to say he told you so, but he did. You can hear them say, "Geez, our skimmer's double hovered. We gotta run." Carefully untangle the twisted mass of hookah hoses, and then rehook the hoses to create one long hose. It reminds you of Christmas time back home, when you enjoyed untangling the Christmas lights and saying to yourself, "I get so much satisfaction from cleaning and straightening. One day, I'll be the best janitor ever." Well, at least one part of that dream came true. You are a janitor. Oh, not real smart. This may just be your most humiliating moment ever, although it's hard to tell. There have been so many. Don't you just hate it when that happens? Bummer, it looks like your friend has reconstituted. This could be a painful development. Yes, it looks like he's going to beat the... Yep, he sure did. Boy, that's gotta hurt. This humongous expensive game is an all-time favorite. You have to duplicate famous gourmet dishes while piloting vintage combat aircraft against the Nazi menace. It's called Secret Recipes of the Luftwaffe. This one's Coily Joe. Coily's bulk belies the finesse-laden look-up, look-down move and the nyeh hand in the face. He also has the raw power to deliver a stunning fist on nose overhand. A powerful package indeed. Elmo has definitely taken a turn for the worse. You'd like to think it was your exit from the admittedly captive rank of that off-world sweat orb, Scumsoft Incorporated. It was probably something dumb like a compulsion for pet projects or personally beneficial programs over those things important to the company as a whole. That couldn't be it. Pa keeps some of the more expensive stuff back here, like Jurassic Dark, Raymond E. Feisterbrow, and Samuel Douglas Adams. It's Ursula K. Le Guinness Stout, a perennially popular refreshment and winner of last year's Nebu Ale Award. Just as you're about to insert the key card so you can go inside and check out your new digs, you notice those two goony-looking dudes from the lobby walking in your direction at a rather deliberate pace. Perhaps they're going to welcome you to the place or show you where the ice machine is. This alien woman looks to be in very bad shape. Her pupils are fixed and dilated. Her body is stiff, almost as if she's dead, and her skin looks tight and puffy, as if bodily gases are building up inside her. Bandages and patches appear in profusion all over her, and some of her seams look like they're about to give way. You make a mental note to come back and rescue this poor woman. You don't know what that is, but you keep seeing it above people's garage doors. It must be some sort of anti-theft device. Don't even bother looking in your pockets. You are carrying nothing. Nada, zip, zero, zilch. Smooth move. You've got his keyring. You poke and prod amongst the moddies until you find a moddy labeled churlish. Being intrigued by the word, you glom it. Incidentally, you might want to look up the word churlish before you do anything stupid. Yeah, you reach through that damping field and you'll draw back a dripping wad of demolecularized flesh. It does look pretty cool, though. Maybe when we have more time, we can come back and try it. Delicious! Thank goodness now that you've got that damping field shut off, you can check out that damping field controller unit so that maybe you can shut off that... Oh yeah, that's a real sound idea. You have no reason to check out the damping field controller unit now. You notice your firm muscular fingers, the graceful bone structure, the elegant blood blister under your thumb. These are a man's hands. Grrr. Captain, there be switches here. Popular Tektronix, who are you trying to kid? I know what you were reading in there. It's a medibunk. This is where all ill or injured crew members are treated. It's also where they bring all the guys in the red shirts, or what's left of them, after they've suffered their inevitable calamities. You pick strange methods of getting a charge out of life. Say it's the old hint book you found in the bargain bin at the software store in Space Quest 4. This table is supposed to be used for paperwork and gracious dining. Since you do neither, you found it makes a great place to stash all this junk you've collected over the years. This table is supposed... Ooh, it's your old Autobucks card from your shopping spree at the Galaxy Galleria, after you saved the latex babes from that hideous sea slug in Space Quest 4. It's expired, unfortunately, but then you don't need much money aboard the deep ship. Besides, people would talk if they saw you dressed that way again. This table is supposed to sit... Wow, it's the old translating gadget you used to communicate with the subterranean alien back on the planet Corona in Space Quest 1. Too bad they don't make those little dilithium watch batteries anymore. Wow, it's your official employment rejection letter from Sierra Online at the end of Space Quest 3. It just says, not a chance, and it's signed by Ken Williams. Looky, it's your old Labion Terror Beast mating whistle from Space Quest 2. This table is supposed to sit. Wow, You won't need that buckazoid on board. Save it. Put it towards your education. This is a Beetlejuice clamoring hagfish fern. You've tried everything you could think of to get it back to health. Unfortunately, all you could think of to do was to stand over it and say, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. We named the game after these. You know, Space Quest socks. Why do all these starships come with shimmery sheets? What's so futuristic and wonderful about shimmery sheets? They wake you up at night. They're cold and slippery. And the worst thing is getting up every morning with sequins imprinted all over your face. What's up with that? This poor dresser hasn't worked right since they hauled it on board. Wait, were you looking at yourself or at the bureau? Well, same message either way. You glance in the mirror. For a moment, you can almost see a silk-clad brunette overacting in a stone tower. Something tells me you're thinking of the demo.
Demo?
Yeah, you remember, the demo that had more version numbers than the game?
Yeah, that demo.
You want this stuff? Maybe we should relegate the Roger Wilco character to demo-only status for the next game. You did have a brother, didn't you? Perhaps his IQ broke double digits.
I don't think I actually want that stuff.
Never mind. Beneath the Ascendo pad, the lift bay relay outlay array quietly does its thing. From inside the Ascendo pad, you can't reach the lift bay relay outlay array. Heck, you can't even say lift bay relay outlay array. The lift bay relay outlay array is permanently lubricated. Licking it will not help. These hermetically sealed components house the Ascendo pad's direction correction connections, the quark torque fork, and the ascension descension suspension tension extensions. These hydraulic brakes allow the Ascendo pad to stop smoothly. Note that you can't really see them from where you are, but you somehow sense they're there. Yeah, that's it. You somehow sense that they're there. That's the ticket. You can't operate these hydraulic brakes manually. You'd shear your hand off into a thin smear of blood, mashed flesh, and pulverized bone. But hey, it's something to think about, right? These lights illuminate the interior of the shaft, just in case someone falls down it and needs some light to die by. It's no use screaming for help at a time like this. Nobody cares what happens to you.
I bid thee open.
If you're going in there, Graham, I'm staying out here.
Take me to Lab B. I have clearance.
Believing you utterly, the Ascendo pad immediately descends to Laboratory B, where it drops you off, and you save the galaxy. The end. As if. Unfortunately, you lack the lingual strength to depress the button fully, but you deduce from the taste that whoever pushed this button last has recently been sifting through sewage.
I bid thee close.
If you're staying in here, Graham, I'm going out there. It's hard to believe that this is the Hollow Suite. The setting is much like the graphics you've scanned in the library from those planets more interesting in their climatic diversity. From the scenic jutting peaks, soft hills, and lake in the conjured distance to the lush, pixelized growth of trees, flowers, and grass in the foreground, the holodeck has that sublime park-like perfection. Unfortunately, its serene beauty is sadly negated by the headstones and the solemn event about to occur, the laying to rest of your rescuer and true friend, Stellar Santiago. You are feeling as you have never felt before, perhaps helped along by the relatively short stints aboard the various ships, as well as all too brief friendships. You've been spared the emotional devastation of true loss by lack of attachment. This, however, is a different feeling. Far different from anything you've ever experienced. You can't help but wonder how you'd act towards Stellar given a second chance. But you know that can never happen. She gave her life for you, and you will never be able to thank her. Enough smarm already. Let's funeral. It's a bottle of morphine, which you thought was actually morphine. Die. Oh yeah, real smart. Let's go poking around inside a pod that's probably carrying a half-dozen miniature face-hugging, saliva-dripping, face-eating, exoskeletal alien piranha things. And while we're at it, let's split up so that we're all alone and defenseless, okay? Not. You hear a disembodied voice saying, "Remember your parking space, Luke."
Is anyone in there?
You hear nothing but oohs, ahs, grunts, and growls. Maybe whoever's inside is just trying to get a little Wookiee. EVA suits weren't designed just as a fashion statement, Roger. Now you know what happened to the infamous R2 line of droids. They've been reduced to carrying out the most trivial of tasks. Fester's using one for a Gen blood blender. How sad. The R2 line of droids seemed like the hottest thing going in their day. Then they found that one little flaw in the programming. Unfortunately, the princess's personal life will never be quite the same. What's special about this Abby Normal guy? Good night, Mr. Feldman, wherever you are. Yikes! Can it be? Why, yes, it is. It's Fester Blatz, former owner and proprietor of Fester's World o' Wonders, a cheesy little tourist trap on the desert planetoid of Fleabot. The t-shirt looks, and unfortunately smells, like the same one he wore on Fleabot. He has the expression of someone enjoying a permanent wedgie. He has aged somewhat. Looks like he's grown a few more neck rings. These last few years have been rough on him. From what you remember of him, he used to be kind of an aqua blue. Now he looks like a used lug liner, or the color of a Vorillion miner's loogie. Guess you're about to find out if there's cyber gravity. Apparently it does exist. As you plummet to your cyber death, you are confronted by a variant of an age-old question. If you fall and hit the ground within cyberspace, and no one is there to hear it, will you make an audible splat? Yep. Smooth move, X-Lax. Yes, this cyberspace thing can be pretty painful, and I'm not just talking about the rates. Hey, free birdseed, and so conveniently placed under a huge boulder, too. Forget it, you don't resemble that bird. Well, except for the pin feathers in those chicken legs of yours. Very tidy. A trash can. That might be a perfect place to store all those vital screen-saving programs like that cool Yasser Arafat version you've downloaded from POL. Pardon me, but I'm just a little nervous about this trash can thing. Didn't someone already go to court and spend wads of buckazoids over this?
Gary! Just read the copy, for Christ's sakes. We're not paying you to think. We just want that pretty voice of yours. All right, you friggin' union geek.
Numbered cyber cards hang here, chiming peacefully in the cyber breeze.
Cut! Wait a minute. What is this chiming in the cyberspace crap? Scott, get over here. Change this.
What? Frickin' director. This guy would know a good line if it climbed up his... Oh, here.
All right, that's better. Try it again, Gary.
Numbers hang here. You saw it here first. A preview of the famed information superhighway. Wow, this makes my nipples hard. That, boys and girls, is Sis Innie. She runs things around here like an iron maiden, with the firmness of titanium BVDs, with the control of a steel belt-reinforced brassiere. Now, what have we here? You haven't found the clue to this file's existence, yet somehow you know. Perhaps subtracting a few hundred points from your score will teach you. Cheaters never prosper. It's pretty sticky out there. Maybe you should wear your EVA suit. That's not a request, Roger. If you want out, put on the damn suit. That little thing? That's the stolen miniaturized door to your stolen miniaturized shuttle. Good eyesight. Now we'll have to do one of those puzzles where you have to find a 1-pixel coin or something. But hey, who'd design a mean, unfair puzzle like that? You're treading on the fundus, a broad expanse of tissue covering the outside of the stomach. For some reason, doing so gives you the feeling of being a one-man army. After all, an army does travel on its stomach. Judging by the spongy, sticky surface and the rippled, undulating muscle churning underneath, you deduce that you're standing on a stomach. But you're not 100% certain. It's just a gut feeling. How odd. A bent staple. And thus far, it has resisted being dissolved by the stomach's acids, probably because of its location and Stellar's apparent lack of oral nourishment during her captivity. The acid probably hasn't risen high enough since this item found its way in here. What in the hell was she doing eating a staple anyway? Maybe it was some fad diet thing in the Galactic Inquirer. My goodness, those little guys are efficient. However, based on how they left your boots behind, you might consider some odor eaters. That's pretty far to go just to do your Wizard of Oz impression. Makes you feel tingly all over, doesn't it? Great Scott, that certainly is one buff parasite. Since you've entered the tapeworm not partially digested, you'll probably give him heartburn. I hope you're proud of yourself. Please remember to keep your arms and legs on the worm at all times. Yow! Now that's a ride you won't take in the Magic Kingdom. So you like the worm, huh? You like to ride the worm, huh? I let you ride the worm. It's the old gray matter itself, our friend, the brain. At least some of us are familiar with it. I don't remember seeing you at the meetings. For some reason, you're drawing a complete blank on information regarding the brain. And you were so close, too. So close, and yet so far away. How embarrassing to get wasted by the Laurel and Hardy of nanites. That was quite effective. That was very impressive, Roger. I'll bet that's not something you hear every decade. Cool! A chance to check out your own digestive tract. Pretty embarrassing getting wasted by an old lady, tentacles or not. You'd better hope no one saw that. Toss in some entrail, helper, and I think we've got a nice potential feast here. Nice shot!
It was a strange feeling, but I went in there all business. There wasn't a moment I wasn't thinking of your welfare.
Oh, give me a break. Let me put my boots on. It's getting deep in here. As Roger and Stellar warp off into the nebula set, many questions remain. Will Roger and Stellar become an item? How will Beatrice Wankmeister react when she hears about this new friend in Roger's life? Will Roger's voice be a few octaves higher as a result? Would they dare to make another one of these things? Only time and money will tell. Thank you for playing Space Quest 6. This is Gary Owens, signing off.